Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Lewd Picks again. I kind of went back to my original name. I think this is probably gonna be better. These Lewd Picks are not all that, it's picks from the gaming news. It's a pun. It's a wordplay, if you want, if you call it that. But there's several topics I want to talk about here. By the way, my name is Yaro. Some people call me Lewd, for some reason. And these topics are quite interesting. The first of which, there's this entire Bayonetta voice acting drama debacle, complete clown fest, and I want to talk about it. There's not. I don't want to cover the topics that have been covered, extensively. I don't want to go into super fine details about the whole ordeal, but I just want to give you this idea as to what happened in general, because there's 3 stages to it, and then I wanna look at the parts that people don't talk about enough. I feel there's I'm not gonna be talking about how voice actors need to be paid more. Everybody's talking about it, that's obvious, that's clear. I'm gonna look at the other stuff. In the meantime, I'll have just the Bayonetta 3 trailer playing in the background. I think this should be good enough. So, stage 1. Helena Taylor, the voice actress for Bayonetta 1 and 2, the English voice actress, comes out with a tweet saying that she was offered an extremely low amount of money for her role in Bayonetta 3, and she also called for a boycott based on that. So that's the first stage. Now, obviously, the biggest thing that I noticed, I don't have a dog in this race, because I was like, wait, what? They changed the voice actor? What? I was checking. I checked the Japanese voice acting, and Bayonetta is still Atsuko Tanaka. So, it's no problem then. Everything's okay. And not only that, but this new character is voiced by Miyuki Sawashiro. What? What? Atsuko Tanaka and Miyuki Sawashiro in the same game? That's awesome. I still am looking for a game where Atsuko Tanaka, Miyuki Sawashiro, and Maya Sakamoto are together, but I still haven't found anime or a game that does this, so I'm still looking. If you know about something, let me know, because I would like to see that happen. But anyway, this first stage caused one certain event to occur, that as is usual on Twitter, and people started dogpiling on Hideki Kamiya, who is basically the face of Platinum Games, the developers of this game. And he is not a great person to deal with public relations, because his shtick that he's most known for is that he's blocking everybody who talks in English at him, So when you have this news, and then people are like, hey man, what's up with the low pay for Bayonetta voice acting? That's crazy. He just blocks everybody, right? So that's not a good look. Even if, there's a good reason for the thing to happen. But anyway, what I thought was silly was that people are so quick, just instantly ready to shit on something, or anyone, for any reason. It doesn't matter. This person has never heard of Hideki Kamiya, has no idea what this guy is about. But he sees, or they see, that people are talking shit. Let me get in on this. Yo, Kamiya is a man-child. Just everybody does the same shit, it was super quick. And the thing that made me, that cracked me up the most, people saying with tweets stuff like, Kamiya went from beloved developer to a hated man-child in a span of minutes. Wow. I was like, yeah, that's... if you've never heard of Kamiya, then I guess you could come to such conclusion. But I think he didn't do anything much different from before, so, what's changed in these few minutes? Nothing much, other than this allegation, right? So, I just didn't really think about it too much. I didn't join in on the bullshit, because I don't really care. My voice actors are still there. The same ones as they were in the previous games, so I don't care. Also, and, I hate to say it, but I guess it has to be said again. If you still think that English voice acting in Japanese video games is not a second-rate product, I don't know when will you learn this lesson, because that is the case. The only thing I will say, in defense of English voice acting, English dubs of Japanese games, is that while I personally don't really love the performances, especially the American performances, because they're all like very similar to each other, for example, but there's definitely one thing that the English dubs have stepped up, and it's definitely good now, and that's the actual recording, And the performances themselves are also of decent bass quality. Like, it's definitely better than it used to be, for sure. I still don't like it, but I can't say it's bad. It's not. Definitely not. The thing is, that surprised me, that's related to this a little bit, I was sent a sample of voice acting from Tactics Ogre, and the English voice acting was not only actually bad, but even the recording didn't sound right, so I don't know what happened there. It's just, Square Enix probably just allocating the sliverest of the smallest budgets for that English dub or something. I don't know. Curious to see how the Japanese dub looks like there, because if it also sounds bad, like the recording itself, that's definitely a concern. But yeah, that is stage 1. Stage 2. There is a rebuttal. Jason Schreier, known for his previous work as an investigative journalist for Kotaku and now for Bloomberg, comes out with a tweet, or maybe even an article. I didn't really look into it, but it definitely was a tweet, where he said that he saw documents that said that Helena Taylor was offered a lot more than $4,000, and that she is not exactly giving us all the information. And she declined that offer that was initially offered. Then the Platinum Games even increased that amount, and she still declined again. So they were like, okay, I guess we're not interested. So they just, moved on and found another voice actress, who is Jennifer Hale, who is a very seasoned veteran of the industry. I'm pretty sure her rates were not cheap. Although if she's doing it for less money than was on the document, I don't know. I don't know what's like normal. I don't know what's acceptable. I have no idea. But if Jennifer Hale thought it was good enough, then Helena Taylor should have definitely thought it was good enough. If you ask me. Helena Taylor also said something about like Bayonetta being worth like several millions of dollars or something. Man, that is really just completely detached from reality. Like, Bayonetta is not a massive series. It's not a massive IP at all. If it wasn't for Nintendo, there would never be even a Bayonetta 2, So that alone should tell you something. But anyway, that's besides the point. So stage 2 is this rebuttal that she's not exactly giving us the whole picture, right? And then, so everybody was like, oh, wait a minute. Okay, maybe we should dial it back a bit. But Kamiya is still an asshole. Everybody was always like, every tweet I saw was always like, maybe we should scrutinize this a bit more. But Kamiya is definitely a fucking asshole and a douchebag. Like, they were quick to just put this addendum in there, which I thought it was like silly again, because like, okay, I get it, you don't like Kamiya. I guess he killed your hamster or something. I don't get it. I don't get it really. So that's stage 2. And stage 3 is the confirmation that it is in fact true that she lied by omission. And now I'm seeing tweets. Wow, Helena Taylor went from a beloved voice actress to a hated, detrimental factor towards all of the voice actor pays in the West. And I'm like, wow, I've seen this tweet before, but it was from the other side. People are so quick to judge and talk shit, it's crazy. I should not be surprised, I know, but it just really struck me how quickly people flip-flop around, and it's like, man, can you just take a step back? Maybe wait for a bit, inhale, exhale, take a look at the whole picture, and then maybe think about, well, what does this really mean? For us, it doesn't really mean anything. It's just some bullshit on the internet, right? But I guess the bottom line from all of this stuff is that English voice acting in Japanese games is an afterthought. It's a second-rate product, and people need to either accept it or actually do something about it. Because right now it seems like there's this like a plateau. It's not really going anywhere, I don't think. You have these really rare exceptions where the English voice acting is just really well made. The casting is well done, and the direction is also spot on. It really happens very rarely. I really don't think it's very common at all. I can't really think of any recent examples either. Like, the best examples I can think of in the past was like Valkyrie Profile Cimmeria, or what was the other one? Yeah, Nioh, the original Nioh Gestalt. That voice acting is fucking awesome. I think the reason there is that there's only like 3 characters, so you only really need 3 voice actors for that. Maybe there's 5, or it's a very small number of characters that you need voices for, and they nail that. Not only with the performances, but also with the casting, and also with the translation and the writing. Everything was spot on. I think English dub of Nioh Gestalt is fucking perfect. It could hardly be better. And that's about it. But for like recent examples, I can't. It's really hard to think of one. I'm not counting like Japanese games where they record the English performance first. You know, like Resident Evil and Metal Gear Solid. I don't count those because those are just an entirely different category of Japanese game localized into English. You know. But that's about it. As far as like other games that I've seen at least or heard English performances, it's really hard for me to say whether it's good or bad because I don't like it. So it's really hard for me to say if it's good or bad. So I just try to stay away from it and try not to say anything about it because, you know, I don't use it. So my opinion doesn't matter on this. Anyway. But yeah, that's about it. I think that's about all I have to say about this whole thing. Really just I wish people were not so quick to dump on shit for no reason, basically. And, you know, definitely don't boycott the game for this reason. You know, there are better reasons to boycott this game, but I don't think this is one of them. And anyway, that's it for Bayonetta. Bayonetta Debacle. I think this will be its own video, so thanks for watching. If you have any opinions on this, or if you think I'm way off or something, let me know in the comments. I'm interested. I'm down to discuss things or like see other points of view. For example, I don't know, just maybe we do need to judge things quickly, but I don't know. Just, you know, it's up to you. Let me know. Let me know what's up. Hey Meta, what's up? Seems strange they don't have anyone else to talk about it. Yeah, like Platinum Games. Yeah, that's definitely... That's... I mean... I didn't really look into it, like all the tweets and stuff, but I'm not sure if Hideki Kamiya even said anything about it. He was just blocking people, is my understanding. Platinum Games definitely should have made some sort of press release, like, no, here are the facts, this is this and this is that, and we did this, and that's it, you know? But again, it kind of goes back to the whole afterthought idea, right? They don't really give a fuck. Like, she's saying this. Well, who cares, man? What the fuck? That's not gonna do anything. Honestly, I had no idea who Lana Taylor is until this whole thing happened. But I mean, it's not surprising. I don't listen to English voice acting in video games, right? So I wouldn't know either way. Even if I was a huge fan of Bayonetta, I would not know. It's a mess. I'm glad the English VA exists, but if the game is Japanese made, then I expect JPVA to be the best experience. I think that only makes sense, right? Because if I watch a foreign movie, I want to watch it with the original performance. You know, it's performance. It's the whole thing. If I was watching a Bulgarian movie, I would want to watch it in Bulgarian with subtitles, right? That makes sense. It's kind of weird to me that people don't feel the same way in general about video games. The usual thing is, well, I don't want to listen to a language that I don't understand, and I don't want to read subtitles when I'm doing an action game. I totally get that and everything, but for me personally, that's compromising my experience with the performances. So it's a choice. You either have the best possible performance as a whole, or you make a compromise, you know? And I do think it's a compromise. You may disagree, that's fine, but I definitely think it's a compromise. One of my favorite things is that is lacking in Japanese voice acting is the lack of accents. So English has really nice range of different, very differently and distinctly sounding accents, and I really enjoy that. So, for example, when I was playing Ghost of Tsushima, I was really hoping that the Japanese voice track would have the Mongolians, or like at least the main antagonist, who is a Mongolian, that he would be speaking in Japanese, but with the Mongolian accent, or like the Japanese wouldn't be clean, because how could it possibly be clean? He came from mainland China, from Asia, to Japan, but he does know Japanese because he learned it somewhere. I think his character was supposed to know Japanese. But why is the Japanese absolutely flawless? That bothers me. And this is nice because there's a nice segue. I'm going to talk a little bit about Nioh, one of my favorite games from recent times. Probably my number 2 favorite video game of all time, right behind Valkyrie Profile Simularia. And one of the reasons is actually that the voice acting languages are pretty good and they make sense. For example, when William meets Hattori Hanzo, who is a Japanese person and a ninja, Hattori speaks in English to William before William gets his yokai that kinda does a live translation for him, if you will. It's a fantasy game, don't worry about it. But Hanzo doesn't speak perfect English. He speaks with a very heavy accent, and it totally makes sense because he's a ninja who lives in Japan. So it makes sense that a ninja would have access to learning a foreign language, but he can't practice it because he lives in Japan. So that to me is amazing and I love it. That's exactly what I want to see, Later on, William doesn't. Whenever William speaks to other NPCs or like the other Japanese people in Japan, it's usually done in a way where he narrates the monologue in a monologue what he was doing in the cutscene, and the cutscene itself where he talks to everybody is voiceless. You just see the event happen. So what happens there, I'm guessing, is just that the Nekomata speaks for him in Japanese. But he doesn't know Japanese. He just understands it thanks to the demon, and he can speak it thanks to the demon. But the voice actor himself never speaks Japanese. He just always speaks English to the player. There is a beautiful solution for this whole thing. And everybody else speaks, Japanese. It's just, you're in Japan, so everybody speaks Japanese. It just makes sense. I really like that. So, we are now segueing into Nioh. Nioh seems to be doing pretty well. Nioh 1 and 2. 7 million copies sold worldwide. I'm guessing that's across both games and across all the platforms. And they have done their best to sell this game. Let me tell you what. Originally released on the PS4, then it got a PC version for Nioh 1. Then Nioh 2 came out on the PS4. Later on, we got a PC version. And then later on, we got the PS5 version of Nioh 1 and 2. So, you really should play this game, dude. It's good. It's really good. I think it's fucking fantastic. And you are doing yourself a disservice if you are a fan of action games, third-person melee action games, and RPGs, and maybe even looters. Because this game is much more like a Diablo rather than, or dare I say, this game is much more like Path of Exile than a Diablo. It's definitely much more Path of Exile than it is a Dark Souls game, if you ask me. There's a lot of reasons for that. I should probably make a video about this because there is a lot going on in Nioh, and that may be a problem. I understand that may be a problem for some people because this game can be quite complicated. But same can be said about Path of Exile, and Path of Exile is a quite good game. Although, maybe not recently. I've been hearing some negative opinions on the recent direction of Path of Exile. But what other news is tied to Nioh being seemingly successful is that Nioh right now, Nioh 2, is on PS Plus. So, if you still haven't bought the game, which is quite affordable from every time I've seen this game either on a shelf or like a digital sale or something, it's really cheap, both the PS4 version and the PS5 version. The PC version is ironically probably one of the more expensive ones because it doesn't get on sale too often, and even if it does, it's still gonna be pretty pricey, and it's digital only. You can get a physical copy of Nioh, as far as I know, for PC. And even if you did, it would just have a code on it for Steam, you know. So PC games have come a long way since Pac-Man, let me tell you that. But point remains, if you're still not sure about it, but you do have PS Plus, definitely give this a shot. This game is freaking amazing, and there is so much you can do with the base game without the DLCs. But if you love the game and you get the DLCs, that's just a massive shitload of content. Wait, Nioh? Oh, so it's Nioh 2 and Nioh 2 Remastered. So the PS5 version is also on PS Plus. If you have a PS Plus, I mean, if you have PS5 and you haven't played Nioh 2, you are goofing! Absolutely massive goofs right there. What other things we have with Team Ninja? Wolong Fallen Dynasty launches March 3rd, 2023. Well, Japan making sure that the beginning of the year is always very dramatic and exciting. It's the beginning and ending of a fiscal year in Japan, so they love releasing their games in the first quarter. We've known that Wolong is supposed to come out early 2023, but now we know for sure it's coming in March. And yeah, January, February, and March are stacked. Absolutely freaking stacked. And I can't wait. It's gonna be awesome. I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to play everything right away, because that's a lot of games. And this winter may be quite the ordeal, you know. As one of the Starks always said, winter is coming. And this time, it's for real. I'm a bit worried, not gonna lie, but I guess we're just gonna have to see. But that's it for Team Ninja. Next up, there's Witcher Remake announced, developed by Fool's Theory on Unreal Engine 5. Now this is a remake that makes sense, you know? I was thinking, Witcher, huh? Who's making this? Fool's Theory? Who is this? Is this some outsourced bullshit? Apparently, it's currently in early stages of development at Fool's Theory, where veteran Witcher series staff are involved. So it's not totally random people, it's people who actually worked on The Witcher. Which is nice, because you can't really expect that to be the norm, as we will discuss a little bit later. I'm not gonna read the whole press release, I think we get the idea. Everybody knows that the first Witcher game is quite the product of its time. Let's put it that way. And usually when people ask, hey man, Witcher 3 looks pretty good and I've seen the TV show and I liked it a lot, or well, it's probably less common, but I've read the books, I'm interested in the games. Probably doesn't happen often, but surely it does happen sometimes, right? Anyway, when somebody asks, where should I start, or should I just play from the first one, or what's going on? Usually, it is what I would recommend is, you know, you're probably best off just playing Witcher 3. Witcher 2 is okay, but the console, I think it has a console version, and It's not great because it's like Xbox 360 and that's it. I don't think it has a PS3 version. And I can't imagine that game running very well. Or you're gonna have to play on PC and the game is... The PC version's okay. It still looks pretty good, I have to say. Graphically, Witcher 2, very good. But like controls and the overall balancing and game design, it's all kinda, you know, hit or miss. It's just... I think it's still worth playing, but if you just wanna... If you for sure wanna have a good time, just go straight for Witcher 3. Definitely forget about Witcher 1, because you will not have fun if you're looking for a good video game. The story and writing and the narrative design is excellent, even in Witcher 1. But like going from the narrative points from one to the next one, and like going through the gameplay loop and stuff, it's just not great, man. It's not great. I really can't recommend it, honestly. And it sucks because the stuff that's good in the game is really good. So I guess you could try. It's cheap. You know, the Witcher 1 Enhanced Edition is super cheap. Should be available for very little money. So maybe it's still worth a try, but yeah. Remaking the first Witcher makes the absolute most sense when it comes to Witcher Legacy, I would say. We're still waiting for the Witcher 3 PS5 version, huh? Wonder what's that gonna look like. I think they promised, or they talked about, I don't want to say they promised because I don't want to frame it that way, but I think they talked about the possibility of ray tracing, and specifically ray trace the global illumination for Witcher 3, and that would be beautiful. Ray trace global illumination is probably one of, for my money, that's one of the best functions of ray tracing, because it really enhances the world and the immersion, the immersive factor and all that. I personally don't really care about reflections all that much. I don't think that's like that important. I think lighting, I mean, okay, reflection is kind of a lighting. Sure, I concede, but specifically reflections, I don't think those are nearly as important as like shadows and the global illumination. I think those really, really transform the overall visuals, if that makes sense. So speaking of remakes, Konami had a whole thing, and this whole thing is quite concerning, depending. Well, it's concerning or exciting, depending on who you are. So let's unpack this because I find this endlessly fascinating. Silent Hill as an IP is really, really fascinating in so many ways and so many layers. Let me boil it down. What do I mean by that? First of all, you can take a step back and just take a look at it in a simple way. Just the video games, you know? Okay, we got Silent Hill in the video games. Right, what does that actually mean? We have Silent Hill 1, 2, and 3. Those were made by Team Silent, right? The original crew that made the 3 games, which created the first, I guess, fan base and like the first splash with their signature narrative design, visual design, and sound design, and all that. Yeah, let me just put the trailer on so that we have something to look at in the meantime. And people love those games, you know. Then you got Silent Hill 4, which was largely made by Team Silent, but at that point it really was starting to be very different because the crew was not the same. There were some key figures, but not all of them, and the team was just, you know, mixed together from what Konami had. And it definitely shows in Silent Hill 4. I personally love Silent Hill 4, The Room, because it has some really cool ideas, and it's quite different from the previous games, in good ways too. And it has some really cheeky and on-the-nose Evangelion references, which I'm totally okay with. But after that, after Silent Hill 4, you got Silent Hill 5 Homecoming and, you know, the other games after that, like Downpour and whatnot. And all those games are, from then on, outsourced to Western studios. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but those games are complete departure from what the original games used to be. So if you're an old school Silent Hill fan, you basically stopped caring about Silent Hill after 4, or maybe even after 3, you know? And you just disregarded everything else that came out later, because those games have the name Silent Hill, but they're not really Silent Hill. They're just different team, different goals, different design decisions, just different games. You know, there's nothing wrong with that, but I feel like those games would have benefited from not being in the IP of Silent Hill. I will say, like where I stand on this, I like the original games a lot. I haven't played them in a long time because, I mean, they're kind of hard to access these days. The Silent Hill HD collection is complete trash, right? Obviously. You have PC versions, but I don't think the PC versions of like 2 and 3 are available on Steam. I didn't check, but maybe I'll take a look after this. The PC versions are not good, not really good either, because those are very old, so they're gonna have a lot of issues. So your best bet is like emulating the PS2 versions, or PS1 in the case of Silent Hill 1, which is pretty decent solution, but it's not gonna be perfect. Like Silent Hill 1 has crashes with cutscenes, so you gotta be aware of that and make save states and whatnot. So it's just a pain in the ass. If you wanted to buy the game, if you wanted to buy Silent Hill 1, good luck with that, I guess. Because I think they took it off PSN as well, so you can't even play it through backwards compatibility on PS3 or the Vita, if you remember that, what that is. So it's just a huge pain in the ass to even try to play these games. And then there's the realization that these days you would play these games on an LCD panel, which is a completely different experience. Oops, let me look this. Which is a completely different experience from playing these games on a CRT display, which is what I remember playing on. I remember playing Silent Hill 2 for the first time, the PC version, on a CRT monitor. Oh man, that experience was completely mind-blowing, and in the true sense of the word, because that was the first time in my life that I've seen a dynamic light source on your character casting shadows. That shit was insane. It was so scary as well, because I've never seen that before, and it was just something completely new. That thing alone made the game so much scarier than any other game I've experienced until that time. Maybe even since then. But these days it probably would be very different. So that's like one of the layers when I talk about the nuances of Silent Hill. You got the fans of the old games, and I guess you have fans of the newer games. And I'm more of a fan of the originals because they have very clear, distinct identity, and they reference stuff that is very fun to reference and spot, you know. It's just amalgamation of like the best things together, and it's also through the lens of a Japanese team, which is going to be very different than like if you have a Western team making a Twin Peaks-ish game. It's gonna be very different than a Japanese team making a Twin Peaks-ish game, right? It's gonna be combining very unique elements together, and it's going to create something really just exceptional, which Silent Hill 1, 2, and 3 definitely are. That's the one layer. One last thing I would like to say about this is that I like Silent Hill 4, and I really enjoy Silent Hill Shattered Memories, which came out on the Wii, and it also had a PS2 version. That game has some really interesting mechanical design, interesting systems, and the input with the Wii Motion and stuff is also quite interesting. But the most interesting part about Shattered Memories for me was that during the course of the game, you are basically participating in a psychoanalytical test. And at the end of the game, in the credit sequence, you get your evaluation. And I don't know how accurate is it or whatever, how was the experience of other people who played the game, but I was reading the credits, I was reading my evaluation, quote unquote, and I was like, how the fuck do they know this about me? My job was to play the game. I just played the game, I solved the puzzles, I ran away from some monsters, I like confronted some others, I did this and that, I answered some questions, I colored some pictures, and they got all this information about me from this? That's crazy. Also, as far as I remember, I might be wrong on this, but I think the game also kind of tailors the game a little bit around your own fears and what you answer in these questionnaires and stuff. So that also I think is very cool and valuable as a I suppose experimental horror game experience. But I gotta say, I think one of the things that again holds the game back is the fact that it is in the Silent Hill IP. Because from what I remember, back when the game came out, which was many years ago, I think the game came out like 2008, 2007, something like that. It's been a while. I don't think it got very positive reception at all. Because it was Silent Hill, and when a game has the name Silent Hill, there is a certain expectation, you know? Even if the expectation is wrong at this point, because that expectation should be gone since Silent Hill 4, which was like 2003 or something, 2004. People still have this idea of what Silent Hill is. So when you have Silent Hill Shattered Memories on the Wii with V-Motion controls, and it's made by a Western studio, it's just not gonna fulfill that idea, right? Obviously. That's obvious. It was obvious to me, so I was not disappointed with the game. I really enjoyed it. I found things to enjoy about the game, and I was not disappointed. But I feel like I'm in the minority here. I'm not sure how fair it is to have expectations towards a game which sits with a certain IP, but that's just how it is, so you gotta deal with it. Now, what's the next point I was gonna talk about when it comes to Silent Hill? So you got the old fans, and then you have the new stuff. One of the things that was really problematic back in the day when Silent Hill 2 and 3 HD collection was coming out, Konami, for some reason... Okay, Konami, I don't know what they're doing. You know, nobody understands what they're doing, really. But this specific instance is really head-scratching. So, I don't know when this was. I think it was again like 2010, 2011, something like that. When Silent Hill 2 and 3 HD collection for the PS3 was announced, there was also announced like a PS Vita game. I think it was called... what was it called? It was basically like a top-down roguelike. It played in real time, similar to like a Diablo game. Just nothing what you would imagine when you think about Silent Hill. Okay? That's definitely clear. But like I played the game on the Vita, it was okay. It had some weird controls and stuff. But like as a roguelike from top-down action, like an action RPG roguelike, it worked okay. It just had nothing to do with Silent Hill basically. Other than having, you know, weapons and maybe Pyramid Head and like the rusty grates everywhere when you were in like in the other world and stuff. They're just totally random, you know. And there was some other stuff too. I don't remember what it was anymore. Maybe the movie was coming out at the same time. I think the movie is older. I'm not sure. Either way, the problem with this was that they were releasing all this stuff together, like really close to each other. And it's like, okay, you're releasing, like, there was nothing with Silent Hill for so many years. And now you're releasing Downpour and Silent Hill 2 and 3 HD collection, and there's a Vita game, and there's a movie, and it's like, what the fuck? Like, there's just so much shit to keep track of, what the hell? People are gonna be overwhelmed. They will not know what is new, what is old, like, what's going on here. You know, it's a bad idea to just, like, overwhelm everybody with this blitz of stuff. And half of it, well, actually all of it, is made by Western developers, because the remaster, if you want to call it remaster, was also done by a Western studio, if I understand correctly. They redid the voice lines, which is like insane, because one of the most important parts about Silent Hill, the originals, was the voice performance, right? So how are you gonna remaster that and change it? Like, that just doesn't make any sense. I think they had to do it because of some contractual obligations, or they lost the files or whatever. Silent Hill 2 and 3 HD Collection has so many problems. There's some really good videos about it if you wanna check like a post-mortem. I really recommend checking the history of those games out because it's really fascinating what the heck happened there. And it's not entirely at all the fault of the developers who were working on it. It was in a large part responsibility on Konami, who lost the source codes of the games. And I mean, how are you gonna remaster a game for which you do not have a source code? It's gonna be a lot harder. It's possible, it's a lot harder. And if you don't have enough time and budget, it's not gonna end up well. So that's that. And now it seems like they are doing the exact same thing, which is surprising to me, because it already failed once, and now they're doing it again. Albeit, I gotta say, it seems like the projects they have on the way are definitely of a higher budget, higher care, or deeper care, and they seem more promising, but it has each one of them has their own issues. Some are larger, others are more minor, but let's talk about the issues, I guess. Issue number one here is the Silent Hill 2 remake that we were looking at the whole time. Personally, I have not played any games from Bloober Team, who is the developer of this remake, a Polish studio, if I remember correctly. And like for my money, the trailer looks quite good. I think graphically, this is pretty good. They nailed. Okay, I can't say nailed because I haven't played Silent Hill in a long time, but I think this looks sufficiently Silent Hill. Let's say that. Aesthetically, I think this looks. I would say, yeah, this looks like Silent Hill. This looks like that could be it. Yeah. Choosing Silent Hill 2 instead of 1 as your like a first remake, if there's more coming, I think it makes sense because Silent Hill 2 is the most beloved. The plot is probably the easiest to follow, while also being more complex than like Silent Hill 1. Silent Hill 1 is story-wise, it's pretty crazy, and it's a little bit hard to follow if you don't like pay 1000% attention to every single dialogue and stuff like that. And also, Silent Hill 3 kind of continues on Silent Hill 1, so you could say that Silent Hill 1 doesn't stand on its own as well. Silent Hill 2 is completely isolated. It's, I think it's a great standalone game, and it just makes sense that you would remake this game first, I think. So like visually, I think it looks good. Now, Bloober Team, from what I've read and seen and heard, their problem is not with the graphics. They have good command of graphics and like performance and general just workload and everything. They seem like a solid developer. The part where they struggle, from what I understand, is the narrative. So when you take a game like Silent Hill 2, which is extremely precisely crafted from the narrative standpoint, and how do you deliver each scene, and how do you deliver every bit of information about the plot and the characters and the setting and everything, it's definitely a concern. Now, it's a bit of a lesser concern because Masahiro Ito, one of the original key members of Team Silent, is, I guess, not developing the game, but he is part of the development. He's like supervising or something, I don't know. But that alone, I don't think, is quite enough to assuage the concerns of the diehard fans of the original 3 games. People who have never played Silent Hill 1, 2, or 3, they're probably just glad that, hey, cool, I'll be able to finally maybe buy the game and play the game. Cool, I'll finally find out what's like the big deal about this game. And that's good. I think that's definitely good. Because if you wanted to recommend somebody Silent Hill 2, it's like, yeah, man, Silent Hill 2 is a really great psychological horror, and it's got some really eerie scenes and great sound design, and it's pretty spooky if you like really immerse yourself in it, because I mean it's old, so it's gonna be less spooky in some ways. And they're like, okay, awesome. How do I where do I get it on? How do I play it? Yeah, good question. Well, guess you could emulate it. There's a PC version, which... Okay, let's take a look. Can we buy the PC version on Steam? Let me pull it up real quick. By the way, what's up, Axel? How's it going? I'm gonna be rambling here, because I think this is gonna be for YouTube, so... Maybe discussions after I'm done doing my long-winded points. Okay, let's take a look. Silent Hill. It does... I think 2 and 3 both had PC versions. But I think they were all, like, disc only, and I don't think they have a digital version. The Silent Hill Homecoming for €2. Wow! That's a steal! And then there's a remake. So, you can get it on Steam. Let's check GOG, just for funsies. Maybe because, you know, possibly GOG could have it. They have all kinds of old stuff. Okay, the only game they have here is Silent Hill 4: The Room. Close enough, but I guess not quite. Well, so that's that. So if you want to play Silent Hill 2, you're gonna have to find other means to obtain it, and then figure out how to play it, I guess. That sucks. So this remake is nice because people will finally, you know, be able to experience the game. Although it's gonna be a different game, it's not gonna be the same game, but at least you will get the idea. Maybe remains to be seen. I really like it graphically. Music is done by Akira Yamaoka again, which is awesome. You definitely want that to happen, because if you're making a Silent Hill game, the music and sound has to be done by Akira Yamaoka and his team. Otherwise, it's just not gonna be Silent Hill, obviously, right? Yamaoka has worked on, like, I think all of the Silent Hill games except Downpour. I think Downpour was actually made by a Czech studio. Now that I think about it, and the composer for that was a Czech person. That's pretty cool. Never played Downpour. Maybe I should give it a try sometime. Anyway, so that's about it. What else is there to be said about this? So there's a chief concern about Bloober Team mishandling the narrative of Silent Hill 2. But I think, I mean, nothing is going to, like, remove or delete the originals. So we will always have the originals somehow. We can't buy them, and we can't play them on a modern system, but they still exist. They are around, and there are ways to play them. I guess there's that. That's it for Silent Hill 2. Now, the other thing that I wanted to talk about is I already mentioned that Konami already has made the mistake, at least in my opinion, the mistake of releasing, like, millions of Silent Hill media and games at the same time, like back to back, and most of it was outsourced to Western studios. And now they're doing pretty much the same thing, where they announced Silent Hill 2 remake, they announced Silent Hill F, which to me looks quite interesting. This looks like the most interesting thing out of the whole thing, out of the whole announcement stuff they had. They announced new movie by the original director of the first movie, which was, of the Silent Hill movies, definitely the best one, easily. And then there was like a mini-series, like some sort of streaming thing with J.J. Abrams' team, like Bad Robot Productions or something, which is wild. So that could be okay, you know, in an interactive show. I could see that being cool, but I mean, I'm a video game guy. I'm not really into the whole TV show thing, you know. The interesting things about Silent Hill F are that, for obviously, first thing that's most interesting is that it's not in America. It's set in 1960s Japan, And it's written by Ryukishi07. I don't know if you pronounce this in Japanese. I'm not familiar with that. But I know the work of this person. This person is famed for Japanese visual novels dealing with murder mystery, psychological, and supernatural horror. Specifically, When They Cry. Like, that's the series. There's like Higurashi, When They Cry, and there's what's the other one? Umineko. Umineko is a really whoa, that's a really funky visual novel. If you are into visual novels and you don't know about Umineko, I have no idea what you're doing, because that's probably like the first thing a visual novel fan reads, probably, or maybe like the second. It's like really complex, it's super complicated, it's like interwoven, like the many relationships, there's just tons of shit going on. It's crazy. This guy loves writing, and he's really good at doing psychological and supernatural horror, from what I understand. And the teaser trailer looks really different from what I would expect like your regular Silent Hill game to look like. So this definitely has my interest. Although I think this is also a not Japanese team. It's really interesting to me that Konami just refuses to give Japanese developers Silent Hill to work on. I don't know what's going on there, but that's just how it is. What else could be there said about this game? This definitely could be like a really massive breath of fresh air, because every other Silent Hill was in a decidedly Western setting. So, oh yeah, I heard the joke that, oh yeah, Silent Hill in Japan? I mean, that's basically Siren, isn't it? And, I mean yeah, pretty much. Exactly. Because Siren was also originally made by, like, half of the developers from the original Silent Hill, so, yeah, that's it, yeah, pretty much. I feel like I've seen this kind of imagery before, though. Like this mushroom decay overgrowth kind of thing. Man, those... Oh, and also this is Higambana, the samurai skill from FF14, the spider lily. Very cool imagery. I think this is just wild, and it's beautiful, and it's also really disgusting and repulsive at the same time, which is exactly what I would expect from a Silent Hill, you know. Beautiful, alluring, but also disgusting and revolting and repulsing. Perfect combination. Perfect juxtaposition of emotions and all that stuff. So this really looks promising. I hope this is good. Character and creature design by Kera. I don't know who that is. Unfortunately, not familiar with that. Developed by Nioh Boards Entertainment. Okay. What have Nioh Board done? Does Gematsu have anything? No? That is a concern. Taiwanese studio. Founded in 2017. Let me take a look. Nioh Boards Entertainment. What do we have here? Is there like a... Oh no. Oh, what? What? They are developing Resident Evil Reverse? Is this even out? This game has had like 50 beta tests, but I don't think it's out. Is it out? It's probably out. 2021. It's probably out now. Silent Hill F. RE3. Ooh. Oh. Oh. Okay. Oh, it's Switch version. Oh, never mind. Switch version, huh? Okay. I guess they worked on the Onimusha remaster. That's good. The Maker IG collection. That's good. Okay. Oh, that's a cool picture. Okay, so Interesting portfolio, I gotta say. This could be like their breakout game because it's their own game, for one. It seems like, anyway. They're just working with the IP, and it's not a multiplayer live service type of thing, like the Avengers. Although I guess this is Square Enix, wasn't it? Yeah, I guess it wasn't just Square Enix. There was probably like 50 studios that were working on this project, I guess you could say. How is that game doing these days anyway? Everybody forgot about it. You know it's bad when people even stop talking shit. It's not even fun to talk shit about this game anymore. It either is good now or just it's forgotten. Kind of like Anthem, I guess. But yeah, Silent Hill F definitely looks quite good. I'm interested. How's that gonna go? How's that gonna be? Like, is it gonna be like a third-person game? Is it gonna be a visual novel? We don't even know that. I don't think. I don't think they have said anything about the genre it's supposed to occupy. But I am definitely interested. Okay, so I guess that's it for the news that I wanted to cover. Silent Hill is definitely in a weird spot. For me, the biggest surprise still is that Konami is seemingly back. They're doing video games. And they seem also... One other thing I'll say about the announcements. It seems like they are kind of in touch with the community and like the general online discussion, I guess, because for the announcements they had Selena, who is a content creator on Twitch and I guess on YouTube as well. I know her from Twitch, but I'm guessing she also does stuff on YouTube. She's like bilingual, at least bilingual. She may know more languages, but I know that she speaks English and Japanese, and I know her from Finding Games. She was there to like help with the announcements, both in Japanese and in English, and I think that's a really cool thing to do, like from Konami's perspective, because giving opportunity for someone who fills this niche of perfect English and perfect Japanese, and a known content creator like this, I think that's just a good look. I think that's a good thing. So that's ironically, that's probably like one of the most positive things I'm taking from the whole announcement stream. Like, that's the biggest indicator of they have some idea what they want to do with this. They have a good idea what they want to do with this. You could argue maybe it's not a good idea to give the Silent Hill 2 remake to Bloober. It's arguable. You could discuss that. I can't, because I don't know enough about Bloober, and I don't know enough about Konami and what's their situation and what their expectations for it either, and what do they want from Silent Hill 2 remake. But I definitely feel the concern being legitimate. Okay, I think that's it. That's it. That's all I got to say about all this. So, yeah, thanks for watching. I'll catch you some next time whenever we get some more news about something that's interesting to discuss. And, stay cool and be chill. Peace.